My name is Elise Harper, and at 32, I never imagined my life would become a stark lesson in the fragility of trust. Last month, I sold my cybersecurity startup for $20 million, ready to secure my dream home with a $10 million cash offer. Raised in Nasu City by my single mother, Clara, alongside my younger brother, Liam, I believed family was my bedrock. So when I needed a secure place to store the cash overnight, I chose Clara's house. By morning, both she and Liam had vanished with the money, leaving a mocking note. If you're wondering why I'm laughing despite this gut-punch betrayal, stick with me. The truth lies in what was really inside that safe. I grew up in a sagging 3-bedroom house on the outskirts of Nasu City, a coastal town where the sea's briny tang clung to every surface. Our home, with its chipped paint, creaky stairs, and a roof that leaked during winter storms, was a monument to Clara's relentless hustle. She worked double shifts at the Salty Gull, a weathered diner by the boardwalk, coming home with swollen ankles and the faint scent of fried clams baked into her clothes. Money was a ghost in our lives. Christmases meant thrift store dolls or second-hand books. Birthdays were celebrated with lopsided cakes Clara mixed by hand, and vacations were a fantasy we never voiced. From childhood, I knew education was my escape. While Nasu City kids raced skateboards along the pier or lingered at arcade booths, I holed up in our drafty attic, poring over textbooks by the light of a flickering lamp. Weekends, when my peers hit beach bonfires or snuck into bars, I stacked cans at Seaside Market, pocketing every dime. My high school counselor, Miss Larson, once pulled me aside and said, "Elise, you work like you're outrunning a hurricane." She wasn't wrong. Poverty was a shadow I refused to let swallow me. My obsession bore fruit. A full scholarship to Calverton Tech University, an hour's train ride from Nasu City in a gleaming metropolis. Even there, I juggled 2 jobs, shelving books at the campus library and steaming lattes at a coffee shop, to cover rent and bills. Whatever I could spare, I sent back to Clara and Liam. College was a marathon of coding labs, all-night study sessions, and meals of instant noodles scavenged from discount bins. I'd slip into free campus lectures or art shows to feel human, but every spare moment was dedicated to breaking the cycle that had trapped my family. After graduation, I landed a junior developer role at a Calverton tech firm, cutting my teeth on encryption protocols. 2 years in, armed with industry contacts and a burning ambition, I took a leap and founded Code Vault, a startup crafting ironclad encryption software for banks and financial firms. The early days were brutal: 18-hour coding sprints, maxed-out credit cards, and the constant dread of collapse. I lived on black coffee and adrenaline, sleeping on an office couch more nights than I'd admit. But by our 3rd year, Code Vault secured contracts with major banks and profits rolled in. I was living a dream my younger self, hunched over textbooks in that chilly attic, couldn't have fathomed. My relationship with Clara was a tightrope walk. On the surface, she was my biggest cheerleader, boasting to neighbors about my Elise, the tech whiz. She'd call after every milestone, her voice warm with pride. But sometimes when I shared a big win, like landing a client or hitting a revenue goal, her eyes would flicker with something else. Resentment, maybe. She'd listen quietly, then pivot to Liam's latest crisis or her own nagging ailments. "You're doing so well, Elise," she'd say, her tone clipped. "Must be nice to have it all figured out." I brushed it off as exhaustion from her years of sacrifice, but the comments stung. As Code Vault thrived, I shared my success. I bought Clara a cozy 3-bedroom house in Nasu City's upscale Bayside district, complete with a garden she'd always dreamed of tending. I paid off her medical bills, years of untreated aches from diner work, and set up a monthly allowance generous enough for her to quit the Salty Gull. She'd accept it all with a smile that never quite reached her eyes, murmuring things like, "Guess all my hard years paid off for you," or "At least one of my kids made something of themselves." The words carried an edge, but I told myself it was just her way of coping with a life that hadn't been kind. Liam, 5 years my junior, was a different story. Where I'd been laser-focused, he drifted like seaweed caught in Nasu City's tides. He dropped out of community college after 1 semester, cycled through retail jobs at the pier, and always had a new drama: shady friends, bad breakups, or emergencies that needed cash. Clara made endless excuses. "He's still finding his path," or "Not everyone's wired like you, Elise." I laid him out time and again. $500 for car repairs, $1,000 for overdue rent, $2,000 for vague medical bills. I'd suggest career counseling or a trade program, but he'd sulk, and Clara would call, voice trembling, accusing me of acting superior. "You think you're better than us," she'd say. "Liam's trying his best." Last Thanksgiving at Clara's new house, I noticed Liam slipping outside for hushed phone calls, his voice low and urgent. When I asked, Clara jumped in. "He's seeing someone new, a nice guy. Don't pry." Their quick glances should have raised alarms, but I was distracted, already mentally back at Code Vault, closing deals. Looking back, I should have seen the cracks forming. When the $20 million acquisition offer for Code Vault hit, I called Clara and Liam first. Clara cried, saying, "I'm so proud, Elise." Liam whooped and asked if I'd bankroll his latest dream, a music studio in Nasu City's arts district. I was too swept up in my own excitement to notice how their reactions centered on what my windfall meant for them, not me. The acquisition process was a grueling slog, months of negotiations, legal reviews, and sleepless nights. Through it all, I had my eye on a $28 million cliffside mansion in Nasu City's Crestview Heights. A sleek marvel of glass and steel, with a rooftop infinity pool and space for a home office and guest rooms. To beat out rival buyers, I planned a $10 million cash offer. The sellers, the Graysons, had lost 3 deals to shaky financing, so cash was a surefire edge. I was engaged to Nathan, a marine biologist with a steady heart and a love for Nasu City's rugged coast. He cared about me, not my bank account, and we dreamed of building a life in that mansion. Everything felt within reach: financial security, a home that symbolized my climb, and a partner who grounded me. How quickly it would all unravel, I had no idea. Withdrawing $10 million in cash was no small feat. At Coastal Trust Bank, the private banking manager, Mr. Hensley, a wiry man with a nervous tic, nearly choked on his coffee. "Miss Harper, this is madness," he said, adjusting his tie. "Wire transfers are standard for real estate deals of this size. Cash is a security nightmare." I'd done my homework. "The Graysons want certainty," I countered. "Cash speaks louder than promises. I've hired Titan Security to escort me to a safe location." Hensley's eyes narrowed. "That's $20,500 bills, 220 pounds of currency. It'll fill multiple duffels." I nodded. "I've accounted for that. Private guards will handle transport." After an hour of back and forth, signing liability waivers, and a 3-day wait for the bank to gather the funds from regional reserves, I was set. Over dinner at the Coral Bistro, Nasu City's best seafood spot, I told Nathan. He set down his fork, his crab ravioli forgotten. "Elise, this is insane," he said, brown eyes wide. "What if you're followed?" "Robbed," I reassured him. "Titan's sending 2 armed guards. They'll take me to Clara's, where the money goes in her vault overnight, then straight to the closing." He frowned. "Why Clara's?" "Why not a bank box?" I explained. "Her vault's massive, fireproof, electronic lock backup key. I installed it 3 years ago for her antique jewelry obsession." Nathan ran a hand through his sandy hair, frustrated. "This is reckless. Let me come with you?" I squeezed his hand. "You've got that kelp restoration pitch tomorrow. It's one night. I'll be fine." 2 days later, I stood in a private room at Coastal Trust as tellers counted $10 million into tamper-evident bags, loaded into 4 nondescript duffels. My security team, Vince, a grizzled ex-cop, and Tara, a former Secret Service agent, stood ready. The drive to Clara's was meticulous, weaving through Nasu City's backroads to avoid tails. Vince drove, Tara's hand near her holster. At Clara's Bayside home, her eyes widened at the guards. Liam, supposedly there to help with Clara's book club, gawked. "All this for money?" Clara asked, her voice shaky. $10 million isn't pocket change," I said, leading Vince and Tara to the study. The vault, hidden behind a sliding bookshelf, was a fortress, fireproof with a dual-lock system. I'd installed it when Clara got paranoid about her jewelry collection. It could hold the duffels with room to spare. As Vince secured the bags, I noticed Clara and Liam hovering in the doorway, eyes locked on the cash. I mistook their stares for awe. Who wouldn't gape at $10 million? After the guards left, promising to return at 8 a.m., the house felt off. Clara cooked with frantic energy, piling pasta on our plates. Liam peppered me with questions about the mansion, its views, its security, whether I'd install a vault there. Over dinner, Clara's queries grew pointed. "So it's all cash?" she asked, twirling spaghetti. "No checks," I nodded. "Mostly $500 bills." Liam's voice pitched up. "The bank just lets you walk out with that?" I explained the process, mentioning the guards. Later, Clara took a call in her bedroom, door closed. She returned flushed, muttering, "Just book club business." I slept in my old room, the twin bed cramped for my adult frame. Around 1 a.m., I heard whispers in the hall but dismissed them as Clara checking on me, like when I was a kid. Exhausted from the day's stress, I sank into a deep sleep, oblivious to the plot unfolding. Morning light pierced my faded curtains. The house was eerily silent, no clatter of Clara's coffee pot, no hum of her morning radio. It was 7:30 a.m. "Clara," I called, padding down the hall. Her bed was untouched, neatly made. "Liam." His room was empty. A chill gripped me as I reached the study. The bookshelf was ajar, the vault wide open. Empty. No duffels, no $10 million. "No!" I screamed, tearing through the house, checking closets, the garage, even the garden shed. Nothing. In the kitchen, a note in Clara's precise handwriting sat by the coffee maker. "Elise, thanks for the money. Time for our dream life. Don't look for us." Clara and Liam, my knees buckled and I collapsed, the note trembling in my hands. My mother and brother, my family, had stolen everything. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. a photo of Clara and Liam boarding a private jet, smirking in oversized sunglasses. The message read, "Always wanted to fly private. Thanks, Elise." A voicemail followed from Liam, his tone dripping venom. "Hey, sis, bet you're freaking out. You've had it all, fancy degrees, big money while we got scraps. Mom gave everything for you. This is our turn. You'll make another $10 million with that brain of yours, but we're gone. No extradition. Love ya." The words hit like a blade. Had I had it all? I'd clawed my way up, worked myself raw, shared every dollar, bought Clara a house, bylaid Liam out endlessly. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment theft. They'd planned it, likely since the acquisition news broke months ago. I called Nathan, sobbing. "They're gone. The money's gone." He arrived in 15 minutes, still in pajamas, hair a mess, and held me as I raged. "Who does this, my own mother?" Nathan dialed the police. Officer Lena Torres arrived, followed by Detective Maya Chen, a sharp-eyed woman with a tight ponytail. I showed them the bank receipts and waivers. Chen's brow furrowed. "You brought $10 million cash here and put it in your mother's vault." I nodded, shame burning my face. "It could be seen as a family arrangement," she said. "Legally, theft is tricky here." I insisted. They knew it was for the house. This was theft. Chen promised a thorough investigation, but warned family cases were complex. The next hours blurred. Chen confirmed Clara and Liam chartered a jet to the Bahamas, likely hopping to a non-extradition country. "They used fake IDs and paid cash," she said. "This was calculated." I called my lawyer, Richard Klein, who was blunt. "It's theft, Elise. Your bank records prove the money's yours. But chasing it internationally could take months, maybe years, with no guarantee." My world was crumbling. The Graysons sold the mansion to another buyer. My financial advisors pressed for answers. Nasu City's tech scene buzzed with rumors. Elise Harper, scammed by her own family. Chen's investigation uncovered a trail of deceit. Clara had a secret email account, active for 2 years, with Liam as her co-conspirator. Their messages, dating back 18 months, referenced the plan. Clara had racked up $80,000 in gambling debts at Nasu City's Pierfront Casino, even taking a second mortgage on the house I'd bought her. A hidden folder in her attic held clippings about my acquisition, annotated in her handwriting, and a chilling list titled Elise's Blind Spots, with Trust's family completely circled at the top. Smaller thefts from past employers, petty but consistent, painted a pattern of dishonesty I'd never seen. Each discovery was a fresh wound. The mother who'd bandaged my skinned knees, who'd cried at my Calverton graduation, was a fiction. Or worse, she'd once been real, but greed had warped her into a stranger. The fallout bled into everything. Nathan and I argued more, his patience fraying. "You're letting this consume you," he said one night, after I'd spent hours on the phone with Chen. "You're not sleeping, not eating. You turned down that consulting gig." I snapped. "They stole my life's work." He couldn't grasp that this wasn't just money, it was my reality shattered. Every childhood memory, Clara tucking me in, cheering at my science fairs, was tainted. He started sleeping in the guest room, citing my restlessness. Our once warm partnership grew cold, silences stretching like Nasu City's fog. I started therapy with Dr. Nora Blake, a trauma specialist with a calm voice and a plant-filled office. "Betrayal like this rewires your sense of safety," she said. "It's like discovering the ground you stood on was quicksand." I obsessed over missed signs, Clara's barbed comments, Liam's evasiveness. Had they always resented me? Was every "I love you" a calculated lie? "Some people build narratives to justify their actions," Dr. Blake explained. "They may have convinced themselves you owed them, that this was fairness." It didn't ease the pain. Nightmares plagued me, chasing Clara and Liam through endless airports, always a step behind, waking in cold sweats. 6 weeks in, the practical toll mounted. The mansion was gone. My advisors warned of tax complications. Code Vault's reputation took hits as whispers spread. Chen uncovered more. Clara had researched non-extradition countries for months, using encrypted emails to contact a fixer known for vanishing acts. Liam had scouted private charters 2 weeks before the theft. They'd played me like a mark, exploiting my trust. The lowest blow was a photo Chen found in Clara's email. A selfie of me sleeping in my old room that night, sent to Liam with the caption, "She's out." "It's time." They'd stood over me, plotting as I slept. So why was I laughing? Here's the twist I've been holding back. The $10 million in Clara's vault wasn't what they thought. Months before, when I first mentioned the acquisition to Clara, her questions felt too sharp. Dates, sums, my plans. Liam's sudden interest in my finances was equally off. Years in cybersecurity had honed my instincts for threats, even from family. Call it paranoia, but I didn't fully trust them. I'd worked with Titan Security's tech division to rig a decoy. Only $1 million in the vault was real cash, enough to look convincing if inspected. The rest, counterfeit bills crafted to pass casual scrutiny, laced with GPS trackers and dye packs set to trigger if the bags were tampered with outside a specific protocol. The real $9 million sat in a Calverton bank vault, accessible only by me and Nathan, secured with biometric locks. I told Clara and Liam just enough to bait them, knowing their greed might surface. When they opened the bags, likely in some offshore hideout, the dye packs would have burst, staining the cash and triggering the trackers. A week after the theft, Chen called, her voice clipped with excitement. We got a hit. Dye packs activated in Vanuatu. Local police detained 2 people matching Clara and Liam's descriptions. The counterfeit bills had been flagged at a bank when they tried to deposit them, their fake IDs crumbling under scrutiny. The trackers pinpointed their location to a beachfront villa where they'd been living large, thinking they'd won. I laughed because their dream life was a mirage. They'd betrayed me, but I'd outplayed them. The real $9 million was safe, and I was already renegotiating with the Graysons' agent for the mansion, using a wire transfer this time. Clara and Liam faced extradition fights, their accounts frozen, their freedom in tatters. My laughter wasn't joy, it was relief, laced with grief for the family I'd lost. I'd trusted them, loved them, but they'd seen my success as a prize to steal, not celebrate. The legal battle stretched on, but the trackers' evidence strengthened our case. Vanuatu authorities held Clara and Liam pending negotiations, and Klein was optimistic about recovering the $1 million in real cash. Therapy with Dr. Blake helped me navigate the pain, though the scars lingered. Nathan and I started mending our relationship, his patience returning as I found my footing. I launched Code Vault 2.0, a new venture focused on fraud detection, channeling my betrayal into purpose. Clara and Liam's note had promised a dream life, but they'd underestimated me. In Nasu City, where the sea whispered of resilience and the tides washed away illusions, I was rewriting my story. Not as a victim, but as a survivor who'd turned a family's greed into a lesson and a triumph. I'd lost them, but I'd gained something harder won: the clarity to trust my instincts and the strength to rebuild.